You're about to face a truth no one dares to chew. When you eat out, you're not looking for food, you're looking for relief. For a pause. For emotional anesthesia served with LED lights and steel cutlery. Because deep down, eating out has become the modern ritual of those too drained to feel, too scattered to be alone. The main course was never what's on the menu. It's escape disguised as pleasure. But it's just a snack. I deserve it. It's my moment. It all sounds valid. But ask yourself brutally, how many times have you walked into a restaurant without hunger? How often have you ordered the expensive option just to avoid seeming broke? How often have you hit order not to eat, but to avoid breaking down? What you call a choice may actually be the reflex of a collapsing mind craving dopamine through digestion. And the system feeds on this. Because emotionally exhausted people consume mindlessly and swallow silence wrapped in deep-fried comfort. Notice how the more tired you are, the more sophisticated your excuse to order something. It's not about practicality. It's about escape. Escape from the kitchen, from your routine, from your body. You're not just paying for food. You're paying not to feel, not to cook, not to face yourself. That's why eating out became a socially accepted addiction. Unlike alcohol or cigarettes, it still carries the polish of experience. I've used that ritual as a crutch. I called it pleasure, but it was exhaustion, loneliness, disconnection. And before I knew it, I couldn't spend a single night at home without inventing a food-based excuse. The cruel truth is, the more you eat out, the more you detach from within. And in that symbolic emptiness, the system devours you, bite by bite. You think you're hungry, but most of the time what you feel is emptiness, and the system trained your body to confuse the two. That's why eating out has become the automatic response to every unprocessed emotion. Sad? Order food. Anxious? Go to a restaurant. Lonely? Invite someone. Split the check and the silence. Food has become a survival language. And taste, a shortcut to avoid facing what's underneath the craving. The industry knows this. It doesn't sell flavor, it sells comfort, warmth, aesthetic, narrative. You deserve it. You need it. You're too busy. Every ad, every slogan, every photo pokes your emotional gap. They're not feeding your body, they're conditioning your mind. Because they know that emotionally overloaded people will pay $70 for a meal they could make for $12, just to avoid thinking, choosing, preparing, or being alone in silence. And here's the twist. The more you outsource your self-care, the more incapable you feel when you try to reclaim it. Cooking feels like effort. Eating at home feels like punishment. And your body, once an ally, now demands more and more external stimulation just to feel anything. What should be a ritual of connection becomes a scheduled numbness, and the real pleasure disappears, replaced by compulsive behavior dressed as lifestyle. Want to test your freedom? Spend 7 days without ordering food. No restaurants, no delivery. Observe what surfaces. Boredom, irritation, chaos. That's your signal. The system wants you dependent, even to eat. Because those who don't know how to nourish their own bodies are easier to distract, quicker to consume, and faster to give up. Food has become the invisible battlefield of your autonomy, and every unconscious bite is a symbolic surrender. Once eating was ritual, silence, gratitude, connection to the land, to time, to self. Today eating is performance, spectacle. The table became a stage, and if you don't display, you don't exist. It's no longer about nourishment. It's about proving you're happy, current, included. A simple plate no longer satisfies. What feeds isn't the food. It's the post, the likes, the validation. You don't just order a dish, you craft an aesthetic. You're not dining, you're curating content. The fork is a prop, the flavor, irrelevant. And hunger? Hunger's a background actor. Because the true engine of modern food consumption isn't taste, it's narrative. It's the story of someone living well, eating well, experiencing what the algorithm approves. Food became a social certificate, and those who don't document feel like they don't belong. And so the cycle spins. You go out to eat, yet return emptier. The meal was rushed, mindless. The conversation, interrupted by angles and filters. The space was gorgeous, but you didn't show up. You didn't savor. You didn't connect. What should have been celebration became performance, and slowly you started feeding on the illusion of wellness, while actually swallowing stress, comparison, and digital pressure. Want your symbolic freedom back? Do the opposite. Eat in silence. Turn off your phone. Cook with presence. Don't post, don't record, don't share, just eat, chew, breathe, feel. At first, it will feel awkward because your mind is wired to equate visibility with value. But that discomfort is where your true hunger speaks. And when you finally listen, your plate stops being a performance and becomes your portal. You've been taught to call comfort what actually depletes you. Fast delivery, easy snacks, ready meals, all within reach. But no one tells you this. The more accessible the pleasure, the further you drift from yourself. Because the comfort sold by the system isn't rest. It's distraction dressed as reward. It doesn't nourish you. It numbs you. And the more your routine bends to this so-called comfort, the more hostage you become. Your creativity drops. Your energy fades. Your patience disappears. And without realizing, you begin orbiting your next meal like it's salvation. If I eat that, I'll feel better. If I order that, today will be okay. But it's not. Because you're not feeding your body. You're silencing your mind. The system wants you in this state. Numb but functional. Tired but productive. Too busy to question, just aware enough to keep consuming. And food has become the perfect tool. Socially approved, emotionally manipulable, instantly gratifying. Every comfort meal is a gourmet cage. And the more you pay for it, the harder it gets to cook your own freedom. Want to break this spell? Begin with discomfort. For the next 3 days, cook one meal a day, carve from scratch. No rush, no distraction, no external reward. Just for the act, for the ritual, for the reclamation. At first, your body will resist. Your mind will complain. But when that food touches your tongue, something ancient will awaken. Because to cook is to say, I can care for myself. And to eat with intention is to declare, I don't need to pay to exist. I deserve it. Maybe the most dangerous phrase in emotional consumption. You finish the day exhausted, mentally wrecked, and you say, I'll order something nice. I deserve it. But what you call deserving is often self-punishment wrapped in self-care. You're trying to soothe pain with food, but food doesn't resolve it. It just delays the collapse. The system loves that phrase. It turned it into a cash machine. Every ad for fast food, desserts, drinks, delivery sells you the fantasy that you deserve it. And what starts as a reward slowly becomes routine. The pleasure becomes habit. The habit becomes addiction. And the addiction, disguised as lifestyle, erodes your autonomy. You begin depending on the reward just to tolerate your day, instead of questioning the day that makes you need the reward. And the most insidious part? Food becomes your only allowed pause. You can't rest, but you can order. Can't say no, but you can chew guilt-flavored like dessert. You numb your body to silence your mind, and the loop continues. Invisible, accepted, quietly destructive. Here's your symbolic rupture. Replace I deserve it with I need it. Before you order, ask, what do I actually need right now? It might be rest, water, silence, a boundary. If it's food, make it conscious, present, prepared with care. Because yes, you do deserve, but you deserve more than emotional anesthesia. You deserve presence, not compensation, nourishment, not numbing, freedom, not the loop. This is your moment to break the spell, to face your plate as an altar, not an escape hatch. You don't need to pay to feel pleasure. You don't need to order to feel seen. You don't need to consume to prove you're alive. The table is yours. The hunger is yours. The rhythm is yours. But as long as you outsource nourishment, you outsource peace. The system doesn't fear your hunger. It fears your awareness. Because a person who chews with presence, who feels their own body, who cooks their own food, cannot be easily manipulated. They sense the excess, question the cues, break the loop, and most of all, they remember that what they eat also eats them, that every bite is a symbolic decision, to feed the addiction or to fortify presence. You're not choosing a dish, you're choosing distance from the moment, from yourself, from what hurts when silence speaks. Because eating out isn't about food, it's about sedation, about outsourcing your pause, about never having to sit with what rises when everything stops. This video isn't against pleasure, it's against mistaking anesthesia for joy. The map of occult reprogramming isn't a diet, it's a tool to break the ritual, so you can finally sit at the table with your truth and stay. Your ritual begins now. For the next 3 days, choose one meal a day to make with full presence. No matter how simple, it must be yours. From your hands, your time, your care. Before you eat, breathe. Look at your plate. Say out loud, I don't eat to escape. I eat to return to myself. That sentence is a code, a rupture, a ritual of return. Comment below which food was your favorite escape and how it started to dominate you. Share this with someone who keeps saying, I deserve it, but never feels truly nourished. And if this video hit deeper than expected, welcome to the trench. The war was never against food. It was against the emptiness the system trained you to fill, without ever feeling full.